Michael Schumacher reveals how he was key to Lewis Hamilton's success in Candid Throwback. Michael Schumacher spent 3 seasons with Mercedes after coming out of retirement in 2010. In that time, he helped build the team's credentials, and the German car manufacturer has gone on to win the Constructors' title on 5 consecutive occasions, with clinching the Drivers' Championship 4 times and Nico Rosberg emerging triumphant in 2016. Speaking to the BBC in 2013, Schumacher, who won a record 7 championships in his time at Benetton and Ferrari, was convinced that his work in the Mercedes team's formative years was a major factor behind the later success. When asked about his former team by host Lee McKinsey, he said, "I've been positively surprised. They have established themselves and they have been able to use their resources in a way that can keep the development in a positive trend, so that's why they are where they are." The German, who turns 50 today, argued that developing a team in such a competitive sport took time, but admitted he was impressed with the progress made in just 3 years. He added, "It's natural that a consequence of what you see now is actually built up in the various 3 years. You need to think like a gearbox. You need to find all the people and move them into the right position so that one is working into the other. That took time. I wasn't very optimistic that, already this year, you would see this, so they've done a good job." Pushed on his own contribution to the Mercedes success story, he revealed that he never doubted whether his colleagues believed in his ability. He revealed, "To me it's much more important that, inside the team, I was credited and people understood what I was doing and how good I was at doing things. I never ever had the feeling that they were doubting." Schumacher turns 50 today, over 5 years after the Formula One legend suffered a severe head injury while he was skiing in the French Alps. The motorsport icon fell and struck a rock on December 29, 2013, just months after making these comments to the BBC, forcing him to be airlifted to Grenoble Hospital, where he was placed in a medically induced coma for 6 months. Doctors worked around the clock and saved his life with 2 high-risk operations, but the 7-time world champion's condition has been kept under wraps ever since. Next news: Scott Dixon edges Lewis Hamilton as accolades continue for prototypical legendary race car driver. Scott Dixon has been labeled the prototypical legendary race car driver and edged Formula One champion Lewis Hamilton as accolades continue for New Zealand's IndyCar star. American outfit Autoweek named Dixon as their Driver of the Year and ranked his achievement of winning his 5th IndyCar title as their biggest story of 2018, ahead of Hamilton winning his 5th F1 title. They said Dixon put 3 of open-wheel racing's all-time greats in his rearview mirror when his 5th title broke a tie with Mario Andretti, Sebastian Bourdais and Dario Franchitti. Now only the great Atvoit stands alone atop the mountain with 7 titles. IndyCar CEO Mark Miles insisted that Dixon set the benchmark as the 38-year-old guided the starting grid to a new year and a fresh challenge. He is superb as a competitor. He is hard-nosed and never gives up, but he is a sportsman at the same time and is respected by all of his fellow drivers, Miles said of Dixon in an article on SpeedsThePrit.com that was headlined "Scott Dixon, a driver for the ages. He is great away from the races and race weekends. He always does what he can to promote the series and does that very ably. He is just outstanding." And Alexander Rossi, the young driver Dixon edged for the 2018 IndyCar title, said the Kiwi remained the man to beat and someone who set the standards on and off the track. Scott Dixon is the benchmark for everything, Rossi told Speedsport.com. He is the benchmark IndyCar driver. He is someone we all aspire to in our own ways. He is good at everything behind the wheel of a car. He is great at everything out of the race car. His fitness capacity is monumental. He has a cool wife and 2 beautiful daughters. He is the epitome of a successful IndyCar driver. We all have to take a small page out of his book and apply it to our own lives and careers in our own way. I feel like it's a privilege to race against Scott Dixon, 100%. I tell that to him to his face. If you can beat him, you know you are doing a great job. It's just an honor to compete with him, not just on the same racetrack, but actually going wheel to wheel with him and racing him for a championship. Dixon has been holidaying in New Zealand and will be one of the contenders for Sportsman of the Year at the looming Halberg Awards. The 2019 IndyCar Championship starts in Florida in early March and has 17 races culminating in a California finish in late September. Next news: Verstappen slams F1 keyboard warriors. Max Verstappen thinks keyboard warriors get too much attention in Formula 1. The Dutchman ended 2018 as one of the strongest drivers overall, but early on he faced a barrage of criticism for a series of mistakes. "I have absolutely become more mature," Verstappen told the Telegraph newspaper, "but over the years that's just logical. Yes, it didn't work out at the beginning of 2018, and I learned from that. Suddenly everyone was against me. But I will keep the same approach that I have now." The Red Bull driver thinks the critics are given too much oxygen in Formula 1. "Things are often said and written that I do not agree with," said Verstappen. "It has nothing to do with people empathizing with drivers because they've never experienced it themselves. If you drive on the limit, you sometimes make mistakes. I can also give my opinion about football, but in the end I don't know anything about it, even if sometimes when I'm sitting in front of the television I think I do," he added. "But who cares what I think about football? The manager is not going to start thinking Max said this, so I'm going to change that. Especially with social media, it's so easy to give an opinion about someone without knowing them at all. And usually they wouldn't care to say the same thing to your face. Keyboard warriors, that's what I call them," said Verstappen. Next news: Ricciardo information will help Renault, Hülkenberg. Daniel Ricciardo could give Renault a technical boost in 2019. That is the view of Nico Hülkenberg, the existing driver for the French Works outfit, who will be former Red Bull driver Ricciardo's teammate this year. "Us drivers are not engineers and certainly not aerodynamicists," German Hülkenberg told Auto Motor und Sport. "He cannot tell us how to make the barge board. But he could help us by explaining what Red Bull did with various systems or on setting up the car," he added. Hülkenberg also thinks Ricciardo's arrival at Renault will bring a breath of fresh air to a team that is pushing to close the gap to Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull. He also certainly will have some information from Red Bull for us, like how to set up the car, for example. That will be interesting for sure, he said. Others think 2019 could be a real chance for teams like Renault to quickly close the gap to the top 3, thanks to the aerodynamic rule changes designed to make overtaking easier. "With the new front wings, no one knows exactly where to go," Hülkenberg said. "But it's not a full reboot, more of a soft reset. As a factory team, It must be our claim to be much closer to the front. In the last races we were missing between 1 and 2 seconds to the top teams, and we need to at least try to get rid of half of that, he added. On the other hand, Hülkenberg said Renault still needs more time to close the gap. It also took time for Ferrari and Red Bull to catch Mercedes. We need that same time, he said. Today nobody gets into Formula 1 and blows the others away. Everything has just become too complex for that. The first thing is finding the right people. It all takes time. Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to share and subscribe to your channel to get the latest sports news around the world. Wished health and success. Goodbye.